What's up everyone and welcome back to the MMA Zone. Today, let's get started with, did Ilia Topuria LEAK fight with Islam Makhachev? The MMA community has anxiously been waiting for news about Ilia Topuria and Islam Makhachev's next fights. If Topuria stays at 145, the expectation is he'll run things back with Alexander Volkanovski. And before we continue, make sure to leave a like on the video to help support the channel. But based on comments El Matador made on the Full Send podcast this week, a fight between him and Islam Makhachev might be in the works.
I don't think that they don't want to make it happen.
It's in the works?
Yeah, it's in the works. They are trying to figure out some things. He's gonna have some hard time with me, and something he knows and we all know is that the only thing I need, it's one punch. At some point I will connect that punch, and everything will depend on what God will decide. If he wants to send Islam to sleep or not, who knows that? I know that.
Despite that, Makhachev's been pretty adamant that a fight won't happen. After his win over Renato Moicano, he told members of the press during the post-fight presser, the UFC has plans for him that don't include Topuria, Arman Tsarukyan, or Charles Oliveira. Before Topuria's Full Send appearance this week, Makhachev told Match TV that if Topuria moves up, he won't give him a title shot right away. I'm not going to give him a shot right away because he hasn't done all the work he was supposed to in his weight class. There are still contenders he needs to beat, but he doesn't want to cut weight anymore. Let him move up and earn his shot. We'll definitely fight. Even if Topuria doesn't get an immediate title fight, sounds like there's no shortage of exciting fights for him at 155.
Just imagine a fight between me and, I love that dog, Dustin Poirier. He's a fighter, you know what I mean? You know that he goes in and he fights till you're gonna have that guy in front of you fighting and try to take your head off. That's a very exciting fight for me, and I think for the fans also. Islam is a great fight. Charles is a great fight. Justin Gaethje is a great fight. I can mention you so many great fights that I could have in the lightweight division.
While nothing's been finalized yet, Topuria dropped a big update on his next fight. I don't want to say anything because the UFC asked me not to say anything, but hopefully we're going to have some announcements really soon, maybe next week. Whether it's a rematch with Volk, a lightweight title fight, or a #1 contender fight at 155, it'll be interesting to see what the UFC's cooking up for Topuria's next fight. Alex Pereira called out to boxing match. The UFC hasn't sent an active fighter to box since Conor McGregor's fight with Floyd Mayweather back in 2017, but that hasn't stopped UFC fighters from calling out boxers in the hopes of landing a historic payday. Last month, Alex Pereira threw out the idea of a boxing match against Alexander Usyk, and from the sounds of things, the heavyweight champion is down. During an interview with TNT Sports, Usyk was asked about previous comments he made about only having 2 fights left before riding off into the sunset. While he wants his next fight to be against the winner of the Dubois-Parker fight, he said he wants his last fight to be a show fight against Pereira. First is who wins the next fight on the 22nd of February, but next may be show fight with Alex Pereira. Maybe, why not? While the UFC's given no indication that they'd be interested in co-promoting a fight between one of their champions and a boxer, given that Usyk's been fighting in Saudi Arabia, Turki Al-Sheikh may be able to help make an Usyk-Pereira fight happen. As Usyk called out Alex Pereira for a boxing match, Pereira posted footage last night showing himself throwing big blows against a Korean heavyweight boxer named Kim Hyung-gyu. Here's the clip. Merab Dvalishvili talks about his next UFC fight. In a recent interview, Merab said he's targeting a return in April or June and wants to fight either Peter Yan or Sean O'Malley.
I want one of the rematch, either Sean O'Malley or Peter Yan, and I think UFC wants same. My next fight should be either April or June, and I'm ready. Whatever UFC wants, waiting for contract, and I'm ready to show people good fight again.
Renato Moicano accidentally leaks Paddy Pimblett's next UFC fight? On an episode of Show Me the Money podcast, Moicano accidentally leaks Paddy Pimblett versus Mateusz Gamrot. After Gilbert Burns called him out on the leak, Money tried to play it off saying he saw it on social media. However, there's been no reports of anyone saying that Paddy Pimblett versus Gamrot was in the works.
And do you know he's fighting Pimblett? I don't know. That's what it looked like.
Breaking news.
No.
Say that again.
No. But I don't know if that's true or not. I saw on social media, right?
You saw? I don't know. I never seen it.
I didn't.
Gamrot is ranked number 8 at the moment, while Paddy is ranked 12. There's also been talks about Paddy versus Michael Chandler as well, with Chandler calling out Paddy on social media. Who do you want to see Paddy Pimblett fight next? Daniel Cormier reacts to Sean Strickland and Eric Nicksick feud. Throughout Sean Strickland's fight with Dricus du Plessis, Extreme Couture's Eric Nicksick urged the former champion to increase his output. After Strickland's loss, Nicksick doubled down, saying that the performance was uninspiring, while revealing that at one point during the fight, Alex Pereira turned to him to express his confusion. In response, Strickland released a video of his own, saying that although he likes Nicksick and the two will remain friends, he probably wouldn't be in his corner the next time he steps into the octagon. During the latest video for his YouTube channel, Daniel Cormier weighed in on the feud.
I don't blame Coach. I think any great coach needs to judge their athletes fairly, but very harsh whenever they don't compete to the ability that you expect them to, because if you don't, who's going to? But I will tell you, in most instances, you don't get to just X out the head coach and go about your business freely. It just doesn't work like that. He's the head coach for a reason. Eric's been at this gym for a really long time. They're going to have some hard conversations coming out of that gym. But ultimately, the fault is on Sean Strickland because he is the one that did not operate at the level that his coaches expected him to.
Although DC and Chael Sonnen were both confused by the amount of hate that Strickland got for his performance in the night, the former two-division champion understands Eric Nicksick's frustrations from a coaching perspective. Given the broken nose, Strickland will probably have plenty of time to figure out who's going to be cornering him before it's time to return to the octagon. Justin Gaethje training footage ahead of UFC 313. In just a couple of weeks, Justin Gaethje and Dan Hooker will throw down in a co-main event of UFC 313 in what could very well wind up being the fight of the year. With Gaethje hungry to get back in the win column after his loss to Max Holloway and Dan Hooker looking to build on his winning streak, this fight between the two fan favorites seems all but guaranteed to produce fireworks. Ahead of the fight, the highlight's been getting some work in with Kamaru Usman. In a new video released by the former BMF champion, he and Usman can be seen sparring and working on takedowns, with Gaethje defending a single leg with a crazy flip. So far, there's been no word on when Usman will be back in the octagon, but considering he's going at full speed in the gym, hopefully we will get some fight news soon. In the meantime, the MMA community, including Gilly Goose gang leader Dustin Poirier, is ready to watch Gaethje and Hooker throw down. In response to a fan who asked for his thoughts on the fight, the Diamond wrote, "Great matchup, can't wait to see that, gonna be a war." With both guys looking to insert themselves in the lightweight title picture, it'll be interesting to see how things play out. Arman Tsarukyan was seen sparring with Chito Vera. This is the first time we've seen Arman spar since he pulled out of his fight against Islam Makhachev with a back injury. Here's the clip. Colby Covington wants to fight Dustin Poirier next. With Dustin Poirier and the UFC currently figuring out his retirement fight, there's been tons of talk about who the former champion could wind up fighting. While he said that he's only interested in fighting a legend for his final fight, and he's been pretty adamant about being too small to make the jump up to 170, Poirier is still on Colby Covington's radar. In a Q&A video for his YouTube channel, Covington took some verbal jabs at Poirier while responding to a fan who asked if there was any word on a potential scrap between the two former teammates.
Any word on the Dustin fight? No word on the Dustin fight. He's been scared of my shadow for years, ever since we trained together at that old gym. You know, the guy just knows what I bring to the table. He knows he can't beat me. He can't even get a lucky punch on me. So he's not even willing to try like his friend George. You know, at least he tried. You know, Dustin doesn't even want to try. He's going to go into retirement knowing that I owned his soul. And, you know, he didn't defend his family's honor and legacy. So, you know, Dustin's a little he's Louisiana swamp trash, and he's a pathetic little
While it sounds like the odds of a fight between the two happening are slim to none, Covington gave fans an update on his next fight, saying that he'll be back in the octagon within the next 3 months. After a short notice fight against Joaquin Buckley, which put Covington on a 2-fight skid, the former interim champ is looking to get a 12-week training camp in for his next fight as he looks to work his way into the top 5 at welterweight. UFC updates. With this weekend's RoboCop Cannonier fight right around the corner, let's take a look at today's UFC fight updates, starting with a ton of changes to the upcoming UFC Seattle card next weekend. First up, we've got some fight cancellations, with Macy Chasson pulling out of her fight with Ketlin Vieira because of an injury, Edson Barboza pulling out of his fight with Steve Garcia, and Curtis Blades versus Rizvan Kuniev being yanked from the card as well. While the first two fights were canceled because of injuries, MMA Junkie's reporting that nobody really has any idea why the Blaze Cooney fight is getting pushed back a week to UFC 313. Because of all the fights that have fallen off the card, the UFC has added a fight between Alonzo Menefield and Julius Walker, as well as a fight between Nursultan Ruziboev and Eric Mekonico Jr. In the Menefield-Walker fight, Alonzo Menefield will be looking to snap a 2-fight skid, while on the flip side, Julius Walker will look to add to his undefeated record in his UFC debut. In the case of the Ruziboev-Mekonico fight, Ruziboev's looking to bounce back from a loss to Joaquin Buckley. On the flip side, Mekonico will be looking to pick up a win in his UFC debut. We also have two additions to the first GFL card in the form of Chris Weidman versus Luke Rockhold and Yoel Romero versus Shogun Rua. Although so far no date or venue has been set for the card, the Weidman-Rockhold fight will pit Team New York against Team Los Angeles, while the Romero-Rua fight will pit Team Miami versus Team Sao Paulo. Ilia Topuria goes off on Paddy Pimblett. At one point in time, the beef between Paddy Pimblett and Ilia Topuria was so real that the two got into an altercation in the lobby of the Fighter Hotel leading up to the UFC London card back in 2021, with Topuria vowing to take Pimblett's life for comments he made about Georgians. While there'd been some talk of Topuria moving up in weight so the two could settle things, a fight never wound up happening, with El Matador instead going on a tear at 145 and winning the title. After Pimblett called out Topuria for a fight amid all the talk of the champion moving up to 155, Topuria fired back on the Full Send podcast. His hype was like momentáneo, in the moment. He has a lot of hype, this and that, but the quality of the fighter he is, man, come on. Please don't even compare me to that bum, because we are on a different levels and everyone can see that. He was disrespectful to me, to my country, and he just behaved like an idiot. Just make sure that we don't find each other anywhere, because I'm gonna take your head off. He wants to build his hype laughing on people, and that's not the way I'm looking to build a hype. While there's plenty of bad blood between these two, it sounds like if he moves up to 155 for his next fight, Topuria wants to fight someone ranked higher than Pimblett. Dana White and the UFC forced to cancel a fight last minute. It's reported by many MMA reporters that this weekend's fight, Jared Gordon versus Merab Dvalishvili, is officially canceled. After Jared Gordon made weight, the fight was officially off. No word on why it got canceled, but it seems to be because of Merab Dvalishvili, but the reason is unknown. Bilal Muhammad reacted to the situation, who has been feuding with Jared Gordon during fight week, saying, "Ugh, Jared can't catch a break.